Well, hello there. Welcome to this edition of Thought for the Week. I trust that it will be a blessing to you. I know it will be to me because it's always such a privilege to talk with you. But we're talking about spiritual warfare at the very mundane level. Daily provision, looking after me, helping me not to overreach myself and going beyond what the Lord tells me to do. Things like that. They're very much temptations of the devil and very, very, well, the word I suppose is tempting, but how we need to resist him, don't we? Well, today I want to talk about Peter. Peter the Apostle, but at a particular time in his life, right at the end of his discipleship with Jesus. This is John 21, and it describes an incident where the Lord Jesus was on a beach on the north shore of the Sea of Galilee, and Peter and his friends had just been fishing. They'd caught nothing all night, but when they encountered Jesus, he spoke the word, and they had an enormous catch of fish. Huge. And so this is an interesting miracle story, but it's also a miracle in the way in which Peter features, because it transforms Peter. You remember that Peter had denied the Lord Jesus in the courtyard of the high priest's house in Jerusalem immediately before Jesus' crucifixion. It was a desperate moment for Peter. He was challenged several times, three in fact. "You're one of his disciples, aren't you?" And each time Peter denied it. How he must have regretted that. But it was done. He had fallen out with Jesus, or so he imagined. He could never imagine Jesus forgiving him for what he'd done, denying him 3 times. But then after the crucifixion, after the resurrection of Jesus, Jesus met with them on the shore. And this is what we read in chapter 21. Jesus encountering the disciples again and speaking directly and personally to Peter. This is verse 15 of John 21. He'd provided breakfast for them, can you believe? In his resurrection body. How wonderful. He'd cooked fish and gave them bread and fish for breakfast. I bet it tasted good after a whole night of fishing with no success. But when they were finished eating, we're told, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Now you might well ask, these what? Do you love me more than these? And there in front of them was a mass of fish. Bear in mind that fishing had been Peter's livelihood. It's what he was known for. Fish that Peter caught fed many, many people, and they loved him for it. How interesting. But Jesus is saying, do you love me more than these? Sometimes there's a time in life when we have to make that basic choice. What we're known for and respected for, what we love doing. Sometimes we have to turn away from those things in order to turn to the Lord in a new way. That's what's happened to me. Exactly that. And the Lord has said to me, "Chris, do you love me more than your preaching and teaching ministry? Do you love me more than speaking to your friends on Thought for the Week?" And I have to say, that's a tough one, Lord, but you know that I love you. And so I'm confident that as for Peter, the Lord has new things for me and for Lindy. We're looking forward to it. And it's been a joy and privilege to share these things with you. I've got one more message for you next week, and I trust that the Lord will bless us as I share that. But for now, so long. Speak to you next time.